Hi, welcome to Bipolar Afterthoughts. I know that I look like crap, but I am just getting over um, a really very bad cold. And my birthday, I just turned 25 on the 21st, so that was fun. Today's topic is about ghosting. We've all done it once or twice, maybe more. If you've only had a few exchanges with them on the phone, through texting, dating apps, whatever, that's a little bit different, in my opinion, than ghosting someone who is a friend or more. And I've had experiences lately this year where that's happened to me about 4 or 5 times. And out of those times, I could make sense of why it happened without an explanation, even, although they did eventually give explanations. And I knew that for a lot of it, it was not all on me, or most of it was not on me. However, the same cannot be said for the latest. He was a friend that I would never have seen this coming. He ghosted me out of the blue. He would not give a reason. I was actually worried for him. I didn't know if he was okay because I was unaware I was blocked. That's how much of a surprise it was. And ghosting, is it okay or not? Well, I looked into it as for studies, and they all kind of came to the same conclusion. But I wanted to bring it down a bit. And there is this article by the Washington Post, and it is titled How Ghosting is Linked to Mental Health. Now, this was a rather small study, okay? It was of 76 college students. And I am reading this as I am filming. So I couldn't remember. I'm still sick, as I said. Kind of high temp. But anyway, what I found was not surprising, but nevertheless, it helps, I think, for people to be educated about this. The person who did this study was a professor of psychology. And he cites the role of technology in the use of interpersonal relationships because ghosting has only become available due to technology, really. I mean, before phones, before all this kind of stuff, how would you ghost someone? I mean, you could not answer the door when they knocked, that kind of stuff. But really, you'd have to actually man up. I hate that phrase, but you'd have to do that. And boom, talk to the person and be like, this isn't working. Whatever reason is valid. Whatever reason you have is valid. But, you may feel like you don't owe the other person an explanation because who owes anything. But it's just common decency. It's just, human nature. And someone, like, I have BPD. So it really affects me when someone just ghosts me, honestly. With that being said, I've kind of just gotten used to it. And as I said before, learned it's not all on me or even mostly on me. But to get on with the study, so what they did was they asked them a bunch of questions, these 76 college students, about why they ghosted, people who were ghosted, that kind of stuff. And what they found was the people who ghosted, they lacked the necessary communication skills to have an open and honest conversation. Whether that conversation happened face-to-face or, through text or email. And a lot of times, 45%, ghosted to remove themselves from a toxic or unpleasant or unhealthy situation. And I am quoting the Washington Post, by the way, like I said. And in that instance, if the person is seemingly threatening you or you're in fear of your life, that makes more sense. I did have one instance with this one person who thought I was being aggressive when I was not. It was just a total miscommunication through text. It was because they were high stressed about school, and it was really early in the morning, and I had just woken up, and they just it snowballed, and it became something that it was not intended to be. Anyway, interestingly enough, one of the least reported yet perhaps most interesting reasons for ghosting someone was protecting that person's feelings. Better to ghost, the thinker goes, than cause the hurt feelings that come with overt rejection, you know? But that said, data suggests that US adults generally perceive breaking up through email, text, or social media as unacceptable and prefer an in-person breakup conversation, whether this be a platonic breakup, romantic breakup, or whatever have you. And the consequences. This is where it gets bad. So it can have potentially devastating psychological implications. One research supports the idea that ghosting can have negative consequences for mental health. Go figure, right? Short term, many of those ghosted felt overwhelming rejection and confusion. And they reported feelings of low self-worth and self-esteem. Part of the problem is the lack of clarity, not knowing why communication abruptly stopped. Sometimes an element of paranoia ensues as the ghostee tries to make sense of the situation. Long term, their study found many of those ghosted reported feelings of mistrust that developed over time. And unfortunately, some of this mistrust was brought into future relationships. With that may come internalizing the rejection, self-blame, and the potential to sabotage those subsequent relationships. So there you have it. It's not okay to ghost someone. It's not mature to ghost someone. It is the furthest thing from mature to ghost someone. It is so harmful for the person who's being ghosted. It's so bad for their mental health. And like I said, I'm sick. If you think you're doing someone a favor by ghosting them, that is obviously not correct if you look into the science of this and the psychology. If you just can't be mature enough to be in my opinion, decent enough to tell the person why you no longer want to be their friend, their partner, what have you, that says a lot about you. And the problem these days too, that my therapist brought up, is there's just so much miscommunication, because what one person is reading on the text from the other person who sends the texts, it could be completely misconceived. They could be thinking that the other person is saying one thing when in reality they're trying to relay a different message, a completely different message. It's happened with me multiple times because I simply do not know how to text. I just don't. And I text, those annoying things where it's like, hey, how are you doing? And then I'll bring like this paragraph and I'll be like, boom. So it'll be like 3 text messages in a row. A lot of people don't like that. And that is my bad. But if it's if it's someone you match with Tinder and you had a few talks with and then you decided, okay, whatever, that's a bit different than a friend that you've been with, whatever, for however many times. Especially, I have a friend, she hasn't blocked me on anything, but she has this thing where she has to take breaks from people. Whatever, that's understandable. But she ensured me that she would tell me when that would happen. And she didn't. She did it once, whatever, fine. And then she ensured me again. It would not happen unless she told me. And then she did it again. And I do not know why. And that, I'll never know why. But with my most recent friend who did this, I have no idea why. It could be because of his boyfriend. It could be because he thought that I was overwhelming him due to school and he didn't want to keep up with the commitment of, too many friends, whatever have you. But if he had just texted and been like, this is the reason why, however stupid, it may be, I would have been like, okay, well, thank you for the honesty. And it would have been so much better for me. So much better. And obviously, the data suggests that many would feel the same way. So please do not ghost people. Please, if you feel you need to stop a friendship or a relationship, if you can't do it in person, at least give them a reason through text. Because we're all human beings. We all have feelings. And at the end of the day, while you don't owe anyone anything, you should still be mindful of others' feelings. That is my personal opinion, and this has been a bipolar afterthought. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day.